we are discussing about die attach. So or die bonding. So what is die bonding? Die bonding is we attach the die into the lead frame or into the COB or substrate or anything. So this die have to be attached because we need to make the packaging. So that's why we need the die bonding. So what is the die bonding? Die bonding is using the epoxy, or we can use the conductive epoxy or this non-conductive epoxy. So it very depends on the application, and quite many epoxy type. There is the high thermal sintering epoxy or standard epoxy. So with the silver filler. So this depend on also the application. Quite many applications that different epoxy that we have to use, and also different die size. Also we have to use different epoxy. So there is also DAF other than the epoxy. So DAF is a die-attach film. So this is a new technology we can say because of the required parallel of the die, like to use for the gyro, so that we have to make the die is flat. So also it require also for the big die size that require very limited die panel area. So we need to use that. So in this technology there is several die type also. So there is conductive die and also non-conductive die. So this is very critical for the IC packaging. Next is the nozzle. So what is nozzle? Nozzle is something like to dispense the epoxy. So depend on the epoxy, depend on the die-attach dispensing method. So some dispense is using the spot dispense, and some machine they can use the writer. So spot dispense. So we for the big die we can use the shower head. So there is a multiple nozzle to make pattern on the nozzle, so that it can dispense one time to make the epoxy coverage required for the big die. For the writer is more flexible. You can write whatever you want on the dispensing. So there is a star type or cross type or anything we can use for the die-attach dispensing based on required die size. So that's the nozzle. And the die bonding also requires the needle. So what is needle? Needle is very important because you need to select the good size of the needle, so that the chip when it is picked up, it not damaged. So that depend on the die size. More bigger die, so you need to use the multi needle, and also the diameter of the needle also bigger, so that when you push the die from the bottom, so it will not damage the die. So this is very critical for the needle. So you need to make experiment properly. So what the design of the needle and what is combination of the needle to pick up the die, because you need to push the die from the bottom using needle. And next is the pickup tools. So the pickup tools is when you push the needle from the bottom of the die. So the top of the die, it will be pick up the die. So that's why this combination is very critical. So that when you pull the lid frame, so the size of the the size of the pickup tools also have to be proper, so that it can be pick up the die. Because if it is too small, so you cannot pick up the die. If it is too big, so you cannot pick up also the die. So you need to make the proper dimension of the nozzle and the pickup tools. So pickup tools, there is a contact and non-contact. So why there is contact and non-contact pickup tool? So this because of the active die also. The same with the by grinding. So some customer, they don't want to have something contact to the active die, so that they require non-contact pickup tools. And some customer is not too critical to contact the active die, so that they can pick up also with the standard pickup tools with contact type. So this the difference of the pickup tools. Next is the what is the output of the die bonding. So this is also we can I include this on the explanation because of this criticality also. So some customer is very particular required BLT or bond line thickness. Why we need to this BLT? Because there is electrical transfer or maybe the grounding on this die at the back die, the back side of the die, so that the thickness of the epoxy is very critical, and also the die tail. So some customers, they don't want to have a very big tail on the die, so this also we need to control. And the fillet height also, fillet height is something like the glue or the epoxy is too high to the die, so it can be moved to the top of the chip, so that you cannot bond if it is touching the active area. So this is very critical, and we need to control on this process.